Alright YouTube, I'm about to show you my latest Blu Ray pickups. There's quite a few. Oddly enough, they're all Scream Factory. I made a promise a long time ago I would only collect the collector's editions for the Scream Factory, but now I'm finding myself collecting all of them. So here we go. The first one here is the Larry Fested collection. I do have another copy of this, but it's signed, so I didn't open it. And in this, there are four films. The first one is called No Telling. The second one is Wendigo. The third one is Habit, and the fourth one is The Last Winter. These films were released in 1997, 97, 2002, and 2007, respectively. And this was put out this last summer by Scream Factory. Alright, next is Q the Winged Serpent. This was a Shout Factory release, actually, but it's often considered a Scream Factory release. I just finished watching it. It's fairly entertaining, pretty good. Basically, this winged serpent flies around and just kicks everyone's asses, and then David Carradine basically mows it down. And spoiler alert, at the end, what do you know, there's another egg and there's going to be another winged serpent. So yeah, it's a pretty good film, not bad. It's directed by Larry Cohen, probably fairly one of his first films, but it's not a bad flick. So I suggest picking it up. I got it for about $9 at a local record store. It's a pretty cheap film, not bad. But yeah, it's Q the Winged Serpent. Next one is Deadly Eyes. This one was was hilarious. It's actually referred to, when you play the movie, it's called Night Eyes, but it's obviously titled Deadly Eyes. And it's basically about some rodents who have ingested some steroids that were in the grain off the harbor of New York. It was supposed to be in New York, but it was actually filmed in Toronto, Canada. But these rats were basically wreak havoc on the city and eat people, and just they run amok. And it's they were actually dachshunds in rat suits. And little history here: one of the dachshunds actually suffocated in one of the suits and died, unfortunately. But yeah, just a little movie trivia there for you. But it was a fairly good little creature film. It was had its funny moments. But yeah, I suggest check this one out. It's a pretty good classic. It's one of the earlier releases by Scream Factory, but it's pretty good. So the next one up is Leviathan. This one was great. For anyone that's seen The Abyss, this one is kind of like that, but better. It's horror. It's got Daniel Stern in it. It's got I think his name is Peter Brill from RoboCop. It's actually RoboCop himself is in this. The Colonel from Rambo: First Blood plays a doctor. And what happens is this crew is down 2 miles down in the Atlantic Ocean mining for precious minerals and silver, and they come upon a Russian ship, and they ingest some vodka. Obviously, they've been down there for about 3 months, 90 days, and they find some vodka, and what do you know, it ensues chaos, and people start transforming into creatures, and it gets really nuts. But it's a good film. Meg Foster's also in this. She was in a couple Rob Zombie films. She gets decked at the end of the movie. It's pretty funny by Peter Brill. He decks her. But good film, Leviathan. I really suggest checking this one out. Great flick. Yeah. Next one is The Island. This is one of the earlier releases for Scream Factory. It's got Michael Caine in it. A couple other people that are pretty popular. It's about they call themselves buccaneers, and basically they're pirates that have been on this island for around 300 years through inbreeding and other forms. And this is actually based off a book, a very popular book, and that I'd like to get my hands on, but who knows if that'll ever happen. It's pretty good. Michael Caine's son eventually turns on him and threatens to kill him, and these pirates they're just nuts. They have no sympathy, no remorse. They just take and plunder and do whatever they want, They do what pirates do. And they got, here's Michael Caine tied up, and here's the crazy doctor that's in cahoots with the pirates. But in the end, of course, Michael Caine saves the day and gets the best of the pirates, and the good guys prevail, obviously. So, the Island, pretty good. I enjoyed it. May not be for everyone, but I enjoyed it. Pretty good flick. Now this one was, I knew it had Klaus Kinski in it, and I'd heard some things about it, and I didn't know it was going to be as crazy as it was. But boy, this film was out there. Klaus Kinski was absolutely nuts in this movie. Basically, his dad had been a Nazi scientist and had a love and taste for killing. And Klaus Kinski's character, Dr. Gunther, was actually in the Hitler Youth, and he came to America and sorry guys, I'm sick, but he came to America and he continued killing, and he journaled about it, and basically he owns this building, and he only allows female residents, and he basically goes through the crawl space, as the title of the film is Crawl Space, and he spies on them, and he puts various traps throughout the building and his apartment, and in the attic he's got all kinds of little gizmos and gadgets, and he's even got a woman in a cage that he has cut out her tongue. But Klaus Kinski's absolutely nuts in this movie. I suggest getting this. This is a very good film. This is another earlier release by Scream Factory, but this is a very good film. So yeah, I would highly suggest getting this. There you see him peeping out the women through the vents. But very good film. Really suggest checking out Crawl Space. All right. Next movie, Without Warning, or better or yet known, It Came Without Warning. A lot of people compare this to Predator. This was out before Predator. It was actually this was an earlier release for Scream Factory as well. I picked this up and I didn't know how it was going to be, and it actually turned out to be pretty good. It had Jack Palance in it. It's also got one other famous person, I can't remember his name, but Jack Palance from, City Slickers, the old man. But Without Warning, this alien is just, he eats human flesh, obviously, as it says here, and he throws these discs that they latch on you. They're like leeches, and they feed and just basically paralyze and kill you. And he stores your body, and he eats you. This has got a reverse cover art. There you see the alien right there. He's pretty crazy, but they get warned not to go to the lake, but teenagers in the 80s, they go to the lake anyway. It's just like in Friday the 13th, and chaos ensues, and the alien pretty much kicks their ass, and shit goes down. So yeah. The Doctor and the Devils. This film, I was a blind buy. I purchased it at my local record store. I wasn't sure I was going to be. I had heard that it was based on Hare and Burke, which were grave robbers in the 19th century, I believe. And what these guys did is they started, instead of grave robbing, they started murdering poor people and selling them to a doctor, so the doctor would have fresh cadavers for his classes. And the two gentlemen in this movie, they're not named Hare and Burke, but that's who this story is basically based on. And I think they ended up killing in reality, they ended up killing around 16 people, and they were both hung at the gallows. And the doctor lost all credibility because of everything that happened. It all came out, and he basically he disappeared after that because of what happened. So, but this was a very good film. They started they were grave robbers. They started robbing graves, and then they turned around and they started murdering people. But it was a very good film. It was like I said, it was a blind buy, but I suggest checking it out. So, next one is The Sentinel. This movie, I go to my local record store quite a bit. I had seen this movie a million times, and I thought about getting it so many times. And finally, one night, I picked it up and I checked it out, and it's very good. This woman, she's a model, and she moves into this apartment building, and there's all kinds of crazy people that live there. There's lesbian sisters, and there's a crazy old man with cats or birds or something, and there's all kinds of crazy people that live in this house, and then or in this apartment complex, and then there's an old priest that lives in the very top floor, and you can see him every day. And basically, the people that she had met in her apartment building they were all ghosts, and the gateway to hell is basically in this apartment building, and the priest that was in the top floor was the keeper, and he would protect it and make sure that evil didn't leak out into the world. And basically, this model turned out to be the chosen one to be the keeper at the gate. Not a bad flick. I'm gonna check out the Legacy too. This one, Legacy, came around the same time, but this one was good. It's who's in this? The old man has a cat. I can't remember his name. The vampire from Fright Night. Beverly D'Angelo's in this. Who else? Christopher Walken has a small part, but there you can, I don't know if you can see it, but no, it's kind of blurry. He's Jerry from Fright Nights in this. He's her boyfriend, and he ends up becoming a ghost too. But sorry for all the spoilers for these movies, but it was a pretty good flick. Check it out. Next one's Ghost Town. Blind buy. I didn't know how this was going to be. Didn't hear any reviews. Didn't even look up anything on it. Checked it out. I loved it. Basically, this sheriff, he gets lost. His vehicle gets destroyed, and he comes upon this ghost town. He first encounters a ghost sheriff, and he comes upon a ghost town, and the lead ghost is basically just a badass, and through the movie the sheriff learns how to destroy these ghosts and what to do, and he beats them, and it's a pretty good film. There's the lead ghost. It's a good flick. It's some parts of it drag a little bit, but it's good. I suggest picking Ghost Town up for those collectors out there. It's a good flick. It's some parts are slow, but it picks up. The action really it gets going at the end. So yeah, it's Ghost Town. Next one's Ghost Story. This one recently came out. This was originally a novel. It's about 4 men who keep a secret about a woman that was murdered, and this is actually her house. and it was an accident. And there you see her there sitting in the chair, and basically she picks them off one by one, and even one of the older gentleman's sons, she kills him, and they end up beating her. I'm not going to go into depth too much on this one. I suggest picking this one up. This one was good. My mom had this this book when I was a kid, and the cover always freaked me out. It was this house. It always freaked me out. It always reminded me of Psycho for some reason. But Ghost Story's real good. Check it out. All right. Final Exam. I did not know how this one was gonna be. I hadn't heard anything about it. I like Scream Factory a lot. This is probably ranks one of my lower ones. It's there's not a lot of character development in this. It's basically a killer. You see his face at the fairly beginning. I mean, whatever, that doesn't really bother me, but there's no backstory to it. There's no it's basically a psycho that just goes out and kills college students, and that's all he does. And lo and behold, the girl beats him, he dies, the end. And they just cuts off there, which is fine. If that's what happens, that's what happens. But I'd prefer a little bit more backstory on the killer and the characters. Just something. I mean, it's a cult classic. I mean, it's not a bad film. It's not one of my favorites. But Final Exam, if you like, you like Scream Factory Collector, I suggest getting this one. It's not that bad. So, all right, yeah, Final Exam. Next one is The Beast Within. This one was pretty awesome. This guy, Michael, this is his name. I couldn't remember. Michael. He's basically, his mother was raped by a creature when 18 years ago, and now that he's 18, he's starting to transform and change, and he turns into this crazy beast, and that is just strong and just powerful and just can't be stopped. And eventually they stop him. He you see here, he's in his leather jacket, he's going nuts. He eventually dies at the end. He completely transforms. He loses all human form and turns into this crazy beast, and they finally they destroy him. So yeah, Beast Within. So, and they kind of leave room open for a sequel, even though there was never a sequel. They kind of leave room open for one because he has sex with the girl that he was, I guess, dating, but they never say for sure that she's pregnant. But it's kind of what the same thing happens to her that happened to this guy's mother 18 years prior. So you can kind of see where they're going with the story. Beast Within. This one is a Scream Factory double feature, Metamorphosis and Beyond Darkness. It's got the same actor in it. Metamorphosis, pretty awesome. This guy, he's a scientist, and he decides to inject himself with the serum that he's been working on for 2 years, and he completely changes. Physically, mentally, he changes into an incredible beast, and the woman and her child down there become basically the target of this man, and they end up beating him, and he claims he's gonna live forever, and he dies at the end. But the little boy finds a lizard in the lab, and as they're driving down the road, the woman realizes the lizard is the man, and he's still alive. So not a bad flick. Beyond Darkness is pretty good too. He's got the same actor. This gentleman here, he's a preacher in Beyond Darkness, also the lead dad in this film, in this house. It's basically about a bunch of witches that were burned in and around this home. and they haunt this house, and they possess a little boy, and it just gets real crazy. But it's a pretty good double feature. I suggest getting this one. Yeah, I can't really say anything bad about either of these films. They're pretty good. But yeah, go ahead and check this one out. Give it a gander. It's not bad. All right, The Car. This one has James Brolin in it. You know him from Amityville Horror. It says, is it a phantom, a demon, or the devil himself? Well, you never find out who's in that damn car. I mean, it's a pretty good story. James Brolin does a good job. This car just basically terrorizes this county in, I believe it's New Mexico or Utah, maybe New Mexico, and they finally defeat it at the end, and you never figure out who it is at the end, but it's basically infers that it was the devil himself by the ending, and pretty good film. If you order from Scream Factory, you get an 18x24 poster. I picked this up at my local record store. It's not a collector's edition, otherwise I would have ordered it and had the poster. Good film. Yeah, check it out. Next one we got here is Witchboard. This is an earlier release by Scream Factory. I'm sure most of you have seen this by now. Basically, the woman in the bottom gets possessed by the man on the top, who was a serial killer, and he lived in the house that her and her boyfriend live in now. And she thinks she's talking to a little boy on the Ouija board, as they call it in the movie. And basically, when using the Ouija board, it opens up a door, and the man at the top, whose name is Mouth Vader, is able to possess the woman in the bottom, and she completely goes psycho, and then the boyfriend defeats him at the end. So not a bad flick. It's some parts kind of cheesy, kind of boring, but not a bad flick. Witchboard's pretty good, so go ahead and check it out. And now, last but not least, is Nightmares. Is this your sleeper? This is an anthology film, kind of like Body Bags. Not as good, but it's kind of like Body Bags. I just got this. I watched it last night. It's got four different stories in it. First one here is about a woman who's just dying for cigarettes, and there's a killer on the loose, and she decides to go out anyways. And basically, the killer ends up in her backseat, and chaos ensues. So I'm not gonna ruin it for anyone, but she gets real up and close personal with the killer. Next one is with Lance Hendrickson from Pumpkinhead. Done a lot of films. Pumpkinhead, and also Bishop from Aliens. He's basically a preacher, and he loses his way, and some things happen as he's trying to leave town, and he leaves town, and he basically comes to his senses, and yeah, he has a change of heart. All right, third story here is Emilio Estevez. It's called The Bishop of Battle. That one's it's pretty good for all you kids out there that are really into video games. This story's for you. Emilio Estevez gets a little too obsessed with this game, and it gets the better of him. I'll just say that. And then the last story here is Night of the Rat. It's about a family that's being terrorized by some rats, and towards the end of the story, you find out that there's something more than a rat itself, and it ends up being pretty pretty bad for the family. So, but Nightmares, pretty good anthology film, just came out this week. I suggest checking it out. Getting here, I got stack. I got 4 more movies coming in. I have The Final Terror, The Horror Show, Scarecrows, and Dark Angel. So, like I said, I've been kind of on a binge of collecting Scream Factory recently. So, anyways, thanks for checking out my video, guys, and leave a comment below. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Let me know what you think. All right, thanks.